My recollection of Madame Lavinia, she was larger than life. She was able to bring out of people who perhaps didn't even know that they had it in them. She was able to bring that out of them. She had such passion for not only the dance, but she had passion for the culture, for the people, for the history. Um, and when I look at persons like Victoria Josie and Lawrence Carroll, they were so connected to Madame Lavinia. And it would be fascinating to see anything that's going to pay homage to such an influencer. She was here for 2 years, but her influence was so far and wide and great that she may as well have been here for 50 years.
She was very dignified in her approach. Uh, I like the way she always used to wear her leotard back in front. So, which means that it always came up here to her top of her chest, but there's a big scoop was in the back. So her back was always out, and she had her hair always tied in a turban type thing. Always this black turban was on her head, and she never wore a skirt. She wore leotards and tights.
I met Madame Lavinia when there was a time in the Bahamas when there was an arts festival. This is back in the 70s. So Madame was very strict, very, very strict. And she had the nuances, she was really much into small details. It wasn't about the big, she said anybody can do big movements, but it's the small little movements, the little movement of the shoulder here, of a hand gesture, of a head, was more important than the grand, big, flashy stuff. So she taught me to really look at the small movements.
The music that she was using, each rhythm had a name.
Yes.
That was the Igbo,
Yes.
and everything had a name, and each one of those names have a rhythm. So when you had to do the Igbo, he played the Igbo. So once the Igbo is playing, you know what you had to do because you had learned not to do. That's just how she taught it. So each one of those rhythms had a name, and each of those names had a drumming rhythm. So Natty always knew what he had to play because she would just say, "Okay, we do the Igbo," and that's how she taught.
And this is now 1975. Yeah, 75, 76. And so Lloyd said, this is incredible. You just start dancing with me, and now you got all these high marks, and Madame Lavinia is really interested in you. And I had no idea who she was. I had no idea about anything because I had no idea what dance was at the time. I just knew about the Soul Train dancers and that kind of dance. I didn't know about ballet and modern and jazz. And so she told me that Madame told her that I have a very good chance of going to Alvin Ailey if I was interested. That's when, and again, I didn't realize this until you called, but it was also, she was huge in me getting to know Clive Thompson, who became my mentor. And Clive was dancing with Martha Graham. Then went to Alvin Ailey because he was Judith Jameson's dance partner at Alvin Ailey. And Clive had left Ailey to form his own company in Staten Island. And it was Madame Lavinia who convinced me to audition for Clive. She said that you might have a very hard time getting into Ailey because there's a lot of people. There's the first company, second company, third company, and you got to go through all this stuff. But Clive was starting his own thing in Staten Island from scratch, so you might want to consider that. So I ended up going to audition for Clive Thompson and became his lead dancer for the Clive Thompson Dance Company. We were based in Staten Island, and again, it was Madame's influence for me to go to see Clive, because she said he is also a Caribbean man. He would understand you very well. You would understand him very well. I remember when a few years later, when I was at Steps teaching, and I had huge classes, and she came and she says, I always knew you had something special, and here you are now, at a place that I brought you to do to do dance class with me. You are now one of the main dance teachers in New York. And she was very, very proud. And she said, you have to go back. Said, you have to go back at some point and give back to your community. Everything you learn here, make sure you take it back to your people, because it's important for us to have that connection, and to maybe you'll find someone there just like you to inspire.
Mm.